Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What?
Inebriation aside, do you need medical help?
Yes. I feel sicker than usual these days.
Take this, then. And perhaps you could try to slow down the alcohol intake, too.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to stop the only remedy I can afford.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney. Good evening.
What?
Do you have any recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I don't want to talk about it. Just hearing his name makes me want to empty another bottle.
Goodbye.
With the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Have you got any recent news on Sean Hampton's shelter?
Have you not heard? The sad saint has been murdered. Nothing is sacred anymore.
Do you need any help?
It can't be good for business to see the bartender cough in your beer.
Indeed. It would be a shame to taint the delicate taste.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Reed. My customers and I, we all thank you.
Goodbye.
For now, everything seems...
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
You again. What are you...
Goodbye.
Pleasure, sir. Been a while since we've seen any new faces round here.
Good evening.
Hello again.
Have you got any news about Sean Hampton's shelter?
The murderer is still unknown. All I know is that the Wet Boot Boys have nothing to do with this.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
Heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter lately?
Not since he bought it. Such a sad story.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the Wet Boot Boys and the Communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
You should be careful, Rufus. There are things that lurk in the shadows of this city. Things that prey on the lonely and the desperate.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots. Liars and thieves, all of them.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
Nope. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. It's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just want her to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Have you heard anything recently about Sean Hampton's shelter?
Death of the sad saint was only a matter of time. Surprised the wet boots let him live for so long anyway. Neutral ground my arse.
Do you require...
That's...
I will see you. Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
I can feel it coming in my bones. Hatred. Bit of death all around. See you.
Then the gangs, the epidemics, everyone's throwing the blame.
Back in the grave!
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Rest assured, I will help you, sir.
Your merchandise. I don't really see anything worth having. No offense.
None taken, sir. But please, I need to eat. Perhaps if you keep looking, you'd see something that takes your fancy.
Let me be frank. You're as much of a businessman as I am a werewolf, right?
Who the hell are you to question me? It's hard enough to stay clean when you don't have a place to sleep. I'm doing my best here.
I meant no offense, Mr. Nightingale. I was merely pointing out the fact that you're unlikely to survive long if you continue wandering this path.
And what should I do then, sir? Should I join the Wet Boot Boys like so many others? No thanks. I'd rather be a bad seller than a dead gang member.
What can you tell me about the neighborhood? Have you got any friends around these parts?
Not really. Miss Gillingham smiles and says kind words, but I know she's lost her marbles, especially since her son died.
How interesting. I don't suppose you know what happened to her son.
Jack! Rumour has it he tried to tackle some gang lads. I didn't know him well, but I heard he was a nice enough chap. His old ma still thinks he's around.
Tell me about this crazy woman. Madness is often mistaken for other conditions.
The poor woman's mad, all right. Kind and all, but she has so much trouble remembering things. She's taken me for a son more than once.
Why not try seeking help instead of peddling your wares? I'm sure there are people around here that would gladly help.
There's always the night asylum. I heard it's run by a very nice man, but I'm no beggar. Not yet, at least.
There is no shame in asking for help, my boy. Sometimes it can even be the best course of action.
I don't feel okay with that. I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'll do it by myself.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
That is what happens when you try to help others. You attract so much attention you end up dead. Especially in these dark times.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale. Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Tell me, Ichabod, why do you consider yourself the protector of Sean Hampton's shelter?
Those people needed protection. He was the shepherd, I was the watchdog. But I let them down and Mr. Hampton got killed.
Do you need my medical attention? See you later. Goodbye. Giselle's stolen money. Priwen has some unethical ways of financing their war.
You again? What do you want?
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money too?
Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it.
I never thought a man like you would be kind enough to... I misjudged you. Badly. Well... Thank you, sir.
Will you give the money back to your comrades, then?
Fuck those bastards who fired me. I'll give the money to Miss Gillingham. Her son Jack was a friend of mine. He was killed recently.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. This is despicable. I can't believe I'm doing this. It's locked. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Please don't stay too long, sir. So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Do you have any news about Sean Hampton's shelter?
What a terrible story. Where is the hope? If even the good souls can be murdered like this.
Mrs. Fishburne, are you in need of any medical assistance?
I am afraid I am, Doctor. I don't feel well at all.
Then let me give you a prescription.
I thank you for your generosity, sir. It's something this part of town truly needs.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most.
listen to what the idiot had to say first.
He's up to us! Eat this! Fuck, it's fast! Oh, Christ! You won't get me here! Get out!
Are you all right, sir? What are you doing in a place like this?
I'm not sure that's any of your business.
I hope you realize that staying here will put your life at great risk.
Pah! I'm not afraid of these guards of Priwen, or whatever these thugs call themselves. I can still kick some respect into those youngsters.
I wasn't specifically referring to them, but are you really after these men? Why?
They took my boy! I've had no news since he joined that crazy gang. So I decided to come and find him myself, to get some answers.
I see. But as I said, your life is at risk if you stay here. And I'm not referring to the gangs either. You should leave, sir.
Well, this part of town used to be nicer, let's say. Perhaps you're right. This isn't the best way to save Andrew.
There is a name engraved under the blood on the back of the case. Jack Gillingham. Maybe I should return this watch to his family.
Better go home, take its head! Fuck, he's dead! Steady, boys! We've got one of them here!
I have this thirst for blood.
Crush the leech, boys! Take its head!
This place. Rain may have washed away the blood, but not the memory. My poor Mary. This is my watch. Damn grave robbers. It's locked. It's locked, all right. This is a slaughterhouse. From Seymour to my beloved mother Stella. Fishburne, that sneaky bastard. It's locked. It's locked, all right. Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
I have retrieved the gift for your mother, sir.
Great. Give it here then and take this for your trouble.
I also found the corpses. The ones under which you left the necklace, Mr. Fishburne.
Ah, so that's where I left it. I can be a bit stupid sometimes.
Have you no remorse? You don't even deny your crimes.
I have many weaknesses, Dr. Reed, but lying about who I am ain't one of them.
You're not a mindless animal, Seymour. Surely you have something to say about these murders. Speak up and I will listen without judgment.
Could be right, Dr. Reed. Maybe it'll do some good to confide in a gentleman like you. You being educated and all.
Tell me about your victims, Seymour. Who were they? Why them? Was there a link?
Why should there be? They just kept getting on my nerves at the worst times, that's all.
You feel nothing, do you? No empathy for your victims at all?
You seem pretty calm yourself, don't you?
We're not talking about me.
That right? Well, our calm's the only thing we have in common then.
How many? How many victims?
It's not like I keep records. It happens when it happens.
Did you take pleasure in killing them, Seymour? All those people, all those lives extinguished.
I take no pleasure from it. Just gives me peace. Stills the anger. For a time.
This rage you feel, have you ever been able to control it? Resist it?
I tried. For my mum, I tried for her. Telling the truth made me feel better. For a while.
Don't you think you should seek help? Talk to someone you trust, someone who cares about you.
No. And don't dare speak about me to your colleagues either. Keep your mouth shut tight. Especially about my mum.
Why is your mother protecting you, Seymour?
I'm her son. She's the only one who knows me. Sometimes I think she knows me better than I know myself.
I understand you love her, but can't you see the awful situation you've put her in?
Do you think my mum would have a better life if I were dead? She seems so sad to know me sometimes.
I understand your mother's situation. Obtaining justice at the price of betraying her own flesh. It's quite a dilemma.
It might be my mum's wish that I end up swinging from a hangman's noose. But she wouldn't want to be the one who ties a knot round my neck.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
You've explained so much.
Good evening, Mrs. Fishburne. May I come in, please?
Of course. Dr. Reed. Just grew eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentleman
It's
Reed.
locked, all right.
What can I do for you?
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child. And he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I understand your pain, but you cannot mother him forever.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep.
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
Pleasure, sir. Been a while since we've seen any news.
Good evening.
Hello again.
I managed to reach the mass grave in Southwark. It was not pleasant.
Spare me the details, Dr. Reed. All I want to know is what happened to those bastards who owed me money.
I'm afraid those bastards, as you call them, are in the mass grave.
Dead? Shit. That money would have been useful. Well, I'll tell my boys to avoid the place if it's that dangerous.
Yes. Everybody should avoid that place until further notice.
Okay then, Doctor. It looks like you deserve your reward after all. The Wet Boot Boys thank you for your help.
Can I see what you...
As long as you have money.
Won't let me laughing at first. To think, he's a bloody vampire hunter. Watch yourselves! This! Lead spotted! Watch out, boys!
This is despicable. I have this thirst for blood.
Look at it!
It's mine! I'll take it!
There's one of them vermin!
Good evening.
Good evening.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
I'd like to...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade. I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
A funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinket...
Last summer's epidemic was difficult.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
vermin! I'll kill you!
Sorry, sir. No admittance. Look lively! It's on to us! Watch it! It's one of them birds! Fuck! It's a grenade!
For now, everything seems under control, more or less.
Don't forget to keep an eye out for this garden. Something, sweetie. My guess is them.
I think I'm You still working at this app?
Have you heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter?
His death is proof there's no safe ground in this part of town. The streets live for violence.
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colourful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
So this bar is neutral territory, then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You'd best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
So you and your friends all feel in danger? No exceptions?
Tom's the only exception I've come across until now. But he's not like everybody else.
Do you require medical assistance, Miss Cavendish?
Don't feel so good if you have to know. I knew that keeping the bar open with the epidemic wasn't a good idea.
Take this, it'll help. Perhaps you should think about closing the Turquoise Turtle for a while.
Tom always said we got to keep the doors open. But thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish. Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Do you require medical assistance?
That's something I didn't expect to hear.
I don't know which kind of doctor you're used to dealing with, but it's a doctor's purpose to heal people.
And is it your purpose as well, Mr. Reed? I would say it's a convenient way for gaining people's trust.
Goodbye, Mr.
Sewer dog's fault, they say, then.
Good evening.
Hello again.
Can I see...
As long as you have
Good evening.
Hello again.
Can I offer you my medical help, Miss Cox?
Giving out for free? You'd make a poor businessman, Dr. Reed.
Perhaps I would. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you. But don't expect me to owe you anything.
Goodbye, Miss Cox. I cannot enter.
Despicable.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Do you need my medical attention, Miss Paxton?
I can keep going, Dr. Reed.
Of course you can, Miss Paxton. But I wouldn't recommend it. Please, take this. You will feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Thank you. Really.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
I hope...
Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed!
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
Actually, I may. In my line of work, I have to stop at any sign of infection.
Treating a vampire hunter's wounds is certainly a first for me. I'm happy to help you, of course.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Your support means a lot.
Goodbye.
Much noise. A vampire killing's a nice.
This one's mine! Fuck! He's dead!
Please, sir. Come and have a gander.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I come in?
I already took my medication, Doctor. But thank you.
I'm sorry. Your medication? Have we met before?
Don't tease me like that, Jack. Sorry, what?
I think I should come in, miss. I'd like to check if everything is okay, what with the epidemic spreading across London.
An epidemic, you say? How terrible. I had no idea. But where are my manners? Please do come in, Doctor. You are a doctor, yes?
It's locked.
Tippets? What brings you back here? I heard whispers you had a job at that fancy hospital.
I told you my name is Jonathan Reed. Don't you remember?
Of course I do. I remember my name too. Gillingham. But you may call me Enid, Doctor. I'm very happy to see you again.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Oh no, I don't gossip. That would be most unbecoming of a lady such as myself.
Who are the more influential figures on the docks?
Well, I heard about some terrible illness going around. I would say in that case that it's you, Dr. Tippets.
Is anyone taking care of you, Miss Gillingham?
My son is always here to take care of me. He's a good boy like that, but I do worry that he needs to start living his own life. Why, I would never say that to him, of course.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack is dead, Miss Gillingham.
Of course he's not. I've seen him. Tonight, in fact. Ever the joker, Dr. Tippets.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
I've never heard that name before, I'm afraid.
I found this watch. It was a gift from you to your boy, wasn't it? I think it should return to you now.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I recall the day I offered Jack this watch. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. Thank you, sir.
Trinkets and possessions help us remember our past. Promise me you'll not lose it.
I would never lose anything that belonged to Jack. Why don't you take this? Dr. Tippets? Please, for your charity.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
Stranger to these parts.
Good evening.
There's no need to...
Young man, do you require medical attention?
I don't like asking for help, but I don't want to be one of those poor sods dying in the streets.
There's no shame in asking for help, especially when you are in desperate need of it. Here, take this. You should recover in no time.
Thank you, I suppose.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale.
best be moving on.
It's locked. I have this thirst for blood. It's locked, all right. Are you all right, sir? What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same question. Don't you know this is a quarantine zone?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm investigating the epidemic. You had better get to a safe place while you still can.
Oh, really? Well, go investigate somewhere else and leave me be.
I beg your pardon?
I said go. Leave me alone, sir.
Rodney, you're the man who killed that gang member, are you not? Is that why you are hiding in this godforsaken place?
Yes, I did. I did not even know his name.
Then why did you kill him?
That arsehole always mocked me for the colour of my skin. Usually I let it go. But not that night. We fought. He died.
Unfortunately, I have met several murderers during my lifetime. You don't look like them. I can tell you're no cold-blooded killer.
You're right, sir. At first it was just a simple argument between us. But the man had a bad fall.
Believe me, Rodney, you won't survive here long. No matter what you did, you must go back to where you used to live.
I'll go back to the docks then. But if I die, remember that the blood of Rodney Grader will be on your hands.
It's locked.
How is London? I've not seen beyond these walls in such a long time.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us. Spend time with us. And I may be willing to answer more questions.
Thank you, old...
Keep your distance, Ekon! Oh, Bridget allowed me to wander above some years back. It was...
I cannot enter.
This is despicable.
I have this thirst for blood.
It's an inch! Kill it!
Over there!
Good evening.
Hello again.
Goodbye, Miss.
The sewer dog's fault, they say. Then the gangs, the epidemics.
Hypocrites, all of them. Maggots and liars.
All the...
Evening.
Evening, Mr.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
A real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long, Rufus. Be careful.
Some call this the bad part of town. I've lived in worse.